When you think of pirates, you might picture notorious figures like Blackbeard and Captain Kidd, whose terrifying reputations still echo through history. But imagine the shock when Somali pirates emerged, casting a dark shadow over the modern seas with their audacious attacks.
Look at me.
Sure.
Look at me.
Sure.
I'm the captain now.
What compels these ruthless pirates to strike so boldly, and how do they stand up to the formidable power of the U.S. Navy? Join us as we unravel the gripping tale of what happened when Somali pirates attacked a U.S. warship. The rise of Somali piracy. The origins of piracy in Somalia are deeply rooted in the turbulent history of the country, shaped by a mix of colonial legacies, political turmoil, and economic collapse. Until 1960, Somalia was a European colony, divided between British and Italian territories. After gaining independence, the nation experienced initial optimism, but this soon gave way to instability. In 1969, a military coup overthrew the nascent democratic government, and General Mohammed Siad Barre seized power. Barre steered Somalia towards socialism with the support of the Soviet Union, but his authoritarian rule fostered a personality cult, suppressed opposition, and led the country into conflict with Ethiopia. This war, fought in the late 1970s, proved disastrous for Somalia. The defeat resulted in a loss of Soviet support, and the country spiraled into an economic and humanitarian crisis. Barre's popularity waned, and by the 1980s, his regime faced open-armed resistance from opposition groups. This resistance, combined with ongoing tensions with neighboring countries, evolved into a full-blown civil war in the early 1990s. When Barre fled the country in 1991, Somalia descended into chaos. With no functioning government or institutions, 90% of the population found themselves unemployed, leaving honest work scarce. Only the fishermen, working along the Somali coastline, managed to scrape together a living. Somalia's coastline, stretching along the Gulf of Aden, had long been a bountiful area for fish. However, this began to change with the arrival of foreign fishing vessels. Flotillas of trawlers from other nations began engaging in illegal fishing, devastating the local marine ecosystem. Somali fishermen, in their outdated and poorly maintained boats, could not compete with these technologically superior fleets. To make matters worse, the Italian mafia had reportedly begun using Somalia's coastal waters as a dumping ground for toxic and radioactive waste. By the 1990s, pollution had caused widespread destruction of marine life, leaving the remaining fish vulnerable to the poachers who plundered the seas. Faced with no government protection and the decimation of their livelihood, Somali fishermen decided to take matters into their own hands. What began as self-defense against illegal fishing soon escalated. The first successful raids on poaching vessels inspired other fishermen to swap their nets for machine guns, and soon they were targeting not only poachers but also merchant ships traveling through the Gulf of Aden. The region of Puntland, considered the homeland of Somali pirates, was strategically positioned along one of the world's busiest shipping routes between Europe and Asia. More than 20,000 ships carrying oil and goods for the European market passed through these waters annually, making it an ideal location for sea raids. Somalia's stockpile of Soviet-era weapons, left over from its alliance with the USSR, made piracy even more accessible. Kalashnikov rifles and hand grenade launchers were easy to acquire, and pirates used small, fast boats with outboard motors to catch up to unsuspecting ships. By the early 2000s, piracy had become a full-scale industry. Pirates received information about ships from informants in nearby harbors and would set out to intercept them, firing warning shots to intimidate the crew. If the sailors did not immediately surrender, pirates used ladders with hooks to board the ship. Initially, only fast or well-armed vessels could evade these attacks, but once pirates boarded, they usually encountered little resistance. Captured ships were taken to port cities like Alula or Garakad in eastern Somalia, where professional negotiators worked with the pirates to secure ransoms from the ship's owners. Crews were often held for months, sometimes years, under harsh conditions while negotiations dragged on. Ransoms typically ranged from $300,000 to $1.5 million. But in 2011, Somali pirates achieved their most significant financial success by hijacking the Greek supertanker Irene SL with 2 million barrels of oil on board, securing a record $13.5 million ransom. The piracy business was lucrative, and its proceeds dramatically transformed the economy of Puntland. Between 2008 and 2011, piracy reportedly brought in as much as $650 million. The influx of money led to a visible economic boom in the region. In the port city of Ale, the unofficial pirate capital, luxurious restaurants and brothels sprang up, catering to the pirates flush with cash. Expensive cars became commonplace, and mansions began dotting the landscape. The newfound wealth created a stark contrast between the pirates and the rest of the Somali population, many of whom continued to struggle in abject poverty. With frequent reports of pirate attacks, shipping companies were left with no choice but to hire armed guards and take longer, more costly routes to avoid the dangerous waters around the Horn of Africa. This sent fuel costs skyrocketing, along with insurance premiums and labor expenses. According to the World Bank, piracy in 2010 dealt a massive blow to the global economy, costing a staggering $18 billion. In response, the US, European Union, and NATO dispatched naval forces to patrol the Somali coast, joining forces in a global effort to combat piracy. Local Somali authorities also took action to crack down on pirate groups. Over time, these efforts paid off, and by 2020, pirate activity off the Somali coast had dropped to zero. However, piracy is making a comeback. Since November 2023, Somali pirates have been linked to over 30 attacks. This renewed surge stems from both international and local pressures. Local fishermen are growing increasingly frustrated by the uptick in foreign trawlers overfishing their waters. They don't just blame illegal operators, but also their own government for issuing more fishing licenses without enforcing the necessary regulations. As tensions rise, some coastal communities may become more sympathetic to the pirates, potentially providing them with support and new recruits. U.S. Navy defending the high seas. When it comes to taking on pirates, the U.S. Navy leads the charge, using creative tactics to keep our sailors and shipping routes safe. One of their most powerful yet simple tools is the water cannon. This mighty device unleashes a high-pressure stream of water so strong that it's nearly impossible for pirates to push through. The water cannon not only stops pirates from climbing aboard, but it can also flood their small boats, slowing them down and making it a struggle for them to move forward. But what happens when pirates try to get past these barriers? The Navy, along with commercial ships, has made sure that boarding is no easy task. Ships are lined with razor-sharp wire, anti-climbing devices, reinforced doors, and safe rooms called citadels. These defenses force pirates to work much harder, making it nearly impossible for them to get close to valuable cargo. In addition, the Navy encourages ships to follow the best practices for staying safe. These include speeding up when traveling through risky waters, running anti-piracy drills, keeping extra eyes on the lookout, and always having a citadel plan ready. Ships that follow these rules are much better at defending themselves against attacks. High above the water, helicopters and drones are constantly on the lookout. They scan vast areas, searching for any sign of danger and sending real-time updates to ships below. With this bird's-eye view, the Navy can quickly spot trouble and move in to stop pirates before they can strike. And it doesn't stop there. The U.S. Navy works closely with global partners through groups like the Maritime Security Center Horn of Africa and the International Maritime Bureau's Piracy Reporting Center. They share intelligence, reports, and updates about pirate activity, building a strong network of information. This teamwork ensures that every nation involved is prepared to face the challenges of piracy together. The U.S. Navy puts a big focus on working together and building strong partnerships, teaming up with regional navies and coast guards to help them become stronger and better prepared to fight piracy in their own waters. Their mission is all about empowering these local forces so they can protect their seas and contribute to a safer environment for everyone. They also work hard to spread the word and educate sailors on how to stay safe from pirates. Through websites, publications, and outreach programs, the Navy provides crucial information, arming mariners with the know-how and skills to reduce the risks of piracy. It's about making sure every sailor has the tools they need to outsmart cunning pirates and stay ahead of any threats. But the Navy isn't fighting this battle alone. The International Maritime Bureau plays a key role in tracking and recording piracy incidents around the globe. Their data and insights are incredibly valuable, helping governments and authorities understand the extent of the problem and decide on the best actions to take. Meanwhile, The United Nations steps in by enforcing the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, a global agreement that ensures nations work together to catch and prosecute pirates, no matter where they come from or where their crimes happen. This united effort sends a powerful message: pirates will be held accountable for their actions. High Seas Showdown. In the ongoing quest to keep the seas safe, the U.S. Navy has faced off against pirates numerous times throughout its history. On the evening of March 17, 2006, the USS Gonzales, an Oliver-class destroyer, was patrolling the volatile waters off the coast of Somalia. As night fell, the ship's radar picked up an unidentified vessel on the horizon. The seasoned crew of the Gonzales knew that the waters around Somalia were notorious for piracy, so the sighting of an unknown craft immediately raised suspicions. The vessel, a large dhow, accompanied by two smaller skiffs, was a familiar sight in the region, a telltale sign of a pirate task group. The ship's captain, Commander Robert Randall, quickly sprang into action. Recognizing the potential danger, he directed the Gonzales to shadow the dhow while preparing for a board and search operation. At the same time, he sent an urgent request for assistance to the USS Cape St. George, a nearby Ticonderoga-class cruiser. By 5 a.m. on March 18th, the Cape St. George had arrived on the scene, joining forces with the Gonzales to surround the suspicious dhow. At approximately 5:40 a.m., the Gonzales launched two teams of 9 men each in rigid inflatable boats, or RIBs, to board and inspect the suspected pirate vessel. The encounter turned hostile when the pirates, armed with rocket-propelled grenade launchers and small arms, opened fire on the approaching RIBs. The situation was intense, with pirates hurling grenades and bullets, while the American boarding teams maneuvered to avoid incoming fire. Captain James Yohei of Cape St. George later recounted his astonishment at the audacity of the pirates. "I was simply amazed they were so bold as to continue the engagement," he said. In response, the USS Gonzales and the Cape St. George laid down covering fire to protect the boarding teams. The Cape St. George, positioned to engage the skiffs, and the Gonzales, targeting the dhow, provided crucial support. The American warships, though unable to use their main armaments due to the proximity of the engagement, effectively used their medium and heavy-caliber machine guns to return fire. During the intense exchange, a shot from the Gonzales struck a fuel drum on the dhow, igniting a massive fire. The explosion resulted in one pirate's death and injured 5 others, forcing the remaining pirates to abandon their vessel and jump into the Indian Ocean. As the fire spread and the pirates realized their dire situation, they surrendered, throwing their arms up in defeat. Captain Yohei expressed his pride in his crew's performance. "I was very proud of my crew. They responded with what I considered appropriate force despite being under fire," he stated. Once the pirates signaled their surrender, the American warships ceased firing, and the crew of the Cape St. George quickly deployed RIBs to detain the pirates and provide medical treatment for their injuries. In the aftermath, the Cape St. George's RIBs recovered several weapons and ammunition from the 2 skiffs still afloat. Remarkably, the Americans suffered no casualties during the encounter. The Cape St. George sustained minor damage to its side with only slight dents and chipped paint from the enemy fire. This dramatic confrontation marked a significant moment in naval history, illustrating the high-stakes nature of maritime security operations in pirate-infested waters. The successful response by the USS Gonzales and USS Cape St. George not only thwarted the immediate threat, but also demonstrated the U.S. Navy's capability and resolve in safeguarding international shipping lanes. USS Zumwalt, the next-gen destroyer. Let's dive into the impressive world of the USS Zumwalt, a futuristic American destroyer built to tackle the toughest naval battles and land assaults. This extraordinary vessel is part of the elite Zumwalt-class destroyer fleet, designed to be the ultimate blend of versatility and power. With its sleek, stealthy design, the USS Zumwalt can evade enemy radar, making it a formidable presence on the high seas. What makes the Zumwalt stand out is its cutting-edge technology. Despite its size, 183 meters long and 24 meters wide, this destroyer is remarkably nimble, slicing through the water at speeds up to 30 knots. It weighs 15,000 tons, but can travel an impressive 12,000 nautical miles on a single voyage. And it doesn't just operate in deep water, it can navigate in just 26 feet of depth, perfect for a range of combat situations. The Zumwalt is not just about size and speed, it's also about brains. With only around 150 crew members on board, it relies heavily on advanced automation and computer systems. These high-tech systems manage most of the ship's functions, allowing the crew to focus on their missions with confidence. When it comes to armament, the Zumwalt is a powerhouse. It features the Mk-57 vertical launching system, which can fire a variety of missiles with pinpoint accuracy. It also accommodates 2 Sikorsky MH-60R Seahawk helicopters or 4 Northrop Grumman MQ-8 Fire Scout drones for aerial support and reconnaissance. For long-range strikes, the ship is equipped with 2 155mm advanced gun systems, capable of hitting targets up to 115 miles away. For close combat, it has Mk-46 Mod 2 gun weapon systems with rapid-firing 30mm guns that can deliver up to 200 rounds per minute. The Zumwalt also boasts advanced radar-absorbing materials and design features, making it incredibly difficult for enemy radar to detect or track. Sailing silently through the water like a ghost, the USS Zumwalt skillfully avoids enemy attacks with its advanced technology. Its cutting-edge systems manage heat and sound to reduce its visibility, making it nearly invisible in hostile waters. At the core of the Zumwalt's operations is the Total Ship Computing Environment, or TSCE. This system cleverly combines all the ship's functions, navigation, communication, weapons, and defense into one smooth-running network, boosting its efficiency to new heights. The Zumwalt is also equipped with an electronic counterintelligence system, which cleverly disrupts or confuses enemy radar and communication. To protect itself further, it boasts guided missiles like the Nolka, designed to distract incoming threats, and the rolling airframe missile, which effectively takes out enemy missiles. Manned by a highly skilled crew of around 150, the Zumwalt benefits from high automation, needing far fewer people than the 300 required for older destroyers like the Arleigh Burke class. Its advanced stabilization technology allows it to operate smoothly in various weather conditions and sea states. Considering the Zumwalt's impressive specifications, can pirates successfully attack it? The answer depends on where the ship operates. Some regions are notorious for piracy, such as the South China Sea, the Gulf of Aden, the Strait of Malacca, the Gulf of Guinea, and the Caribbean. Pirates in these areas have various motives, from political unrest to economic gain or personal ideologies. If the Zumwalt ventures into these risky zones, it might attract unwanted attention from these pirates. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. In the heart of the Indian Ocean, the USS Vigilant patrolled its waters with a vigilant crew, tasked with safeguarding the vital shipping lanes from piracy. The tranquil night was suddenly shattered by the sight of a speeding skiff brimming with Somali pirates, led by the notorious Captain Bashir. Their eyes gleamed with malicious intent as they approached the warship, intent on seizing it for ransom. As the Somali pirates attacked the U.S. warship, this is what happened. Just as the skiff neared the USS Vigilant, a powerful storm erupted, its winds howling and waves crashing. The pirates, disoriented and struggling to navigate their frail vessel through the tempest, were soon at the mercy of nature's fury. Amid this chaos, the USS Vigilant's crew launched an innovative countermeasure. Using a state-of-the-art drone equipped with high-intensity lights and disorienting sounds, they targeted the pirates. The Somali pirates, already reeling from the storm, were further disoriented by the drone's relentless barrage. Unable to withstand the combined onslaught of nature and technology, they abandoned their skiff, fleeing into the stormy darkness. The USS Vigilant emerged from the storm unscathed, having turned what seemed like an inevitable disaster into a decisive victory with a blend of courage, technology, and a touch of maritime fortune. A nightmare for pirates. Even though the USS Zumwalt is equipped with advanced stealth technology that makes it nearly invisible to radar, it can still be seen with sharp eyes or specialized optical equipment. Pirates usually target vulnerable ships like merchant vessels, passenger boats, or unsuspecting fishing crafts. They often use fast, agile motorboats to slip through the water quietly, like shadows, closing in on their prey. But if they ever tried to go after the powerful USS Zumwalt destroyer, they would face huge challenges and serious consequences. Firstly, finding the elusive Zumwalt would be a major challenge. Its stealth technology hides it from radar and even the naked eye, as its unique design and materials block electromagnetic waves. Even if the pirates had the latest high-tech boats, they would still struggle because the Zumwalt is incredibly quiet. Its silent propulsion system minimizes noise and heat, making it hard to detect. The Zumwalt's secrecy makes it tough for pirates to figure out where it is or where it's headed. To make things even more difficult, pirates would find it nearly impossible to get close or launch an attack on this mighty destroyer. The Zumwalt's state-of-the-art armament includes the powerful advanced gun system, AGS cannon, which can eliminate pirate boats with a single devastating shot. Its long-range projectiles are designed to reach and destroy targets from significant distances, leaving pirates little chance to approach undetected. In addition to the AGS cannon, the Zumwalt is armed with Tomahawk and Harpoon missiles, each known for their exceptional accuracy and range. The Tomahawk missile, a hallmark of precision-guided munitions, can strike targets hundreds of miles away, making it an ideal deterrent against any pirate vessel that dares to venture within its reach. Similarly, the Harpoon missile provides a reliable means of targeting and neutralizing threats from a considerable distance. The Zumwalt's advanced radar systems and stealth features further complicate any potential pirate attack. Its radar-absorbing materials and design minimize detection, allowing the destroyer to stay one step ahead of would-be attackers. Even if pirates managed to detect the Zumwalt, they would face a well-armed, highly automated destroyer ready to respond with overwhelming force. The combination of the AGS cannon, Tomahawk, and Harpoon missiles, and the Zumwalt's advanced defensive systems ensures that pirates would find it virtually impossible to mount a successful attack against this naval powerhouse. For immediate action, the Zumwalt's machine guns can rain bullets on pirate boats from a short distance. Additionally, helicopters and drones launched from the Zumwalt are equipped to detect and deal with pirate threats, armed with machine guns, rockets, or missiles. The USS Zumwalt is a powerful guardian against any threat that dares approach. Pirates trying to escape the Zumwalt's defenses are wasting their time. The ship's advanced protection systems ensure a decisive and overwhelming response. If pirates attempt to attack with missiles or grenades, the Zumwalt's electronic countermeasures instantly scramble their guidance systems, making their attacks ineffective. Should these threats continue, the ship deploys NOA decoy missiles, which draw incoming projectiles away and neutralize them. As a last line of defense, the Zumwalt is equipped with ram missiles, which can intercept and destroy any remaining danger before it reaches the ship. Pirates who try to confront the USS Zumwalt face nearly impossible odds. Even if they somehow manage to get past the initial defenses, they will encounter highly skilled Navy personnel ready to thwart any boarding attempt. The ship's compartments are safeguarded by the Total Ship's Computing Environment, or TSCE computer system, which locks doors and sets off alarms if unauthorized access is attempted. On LCS-class vessels, the TSCE supervisor plays a vital role. This position oversees the operation of active communications, navigational sensors, combat systems, and the ship's networks. Any attempt to steal valuables sets off the radar system, which tracks the stolen item's location. If pirates manage to kidnap crew members, the TSCE communication system quickly alerts the proper authorities to get help. In essence, attacking the USS Zumwalt is a reckless move doomed to fail. The Combined Maritime Forces. The Combined Maritime Forces, CMF, is a unique naval coalition established in 2002, bringing together over 30 nations to ensure maritime security in some of the world's most crucial waterways. Headquartered in Bahrain, the CMF works to protect vital shipping lanes from threats like piracy and terrorism. This multinational task force operates under the command of a U.S. Navy Vice Admiral, with a British Royal Navy Commodore serving as deputy commander, symbolizing the coalition's joint leadership. The flexible nature of the CMF allows participating countries to contribute voluntarily, with the leadership of its task forces rotating every 6 months among different nations. At its core, the CMF consists of 5 task forces, each designed to tackle specific challenges across the maritime landscape. One of its most notable forces, Combined Task Force 150, CTF 150, is tasked with maintaining security in the Indian Ocean. This vast area outside the Arabian Gulf is vital to international trade, especially for oil and goods that pass through its waters. CTF-150's mission includes not only counter-piracy, but also counter-narcotics operations, both of which are essential to maintaining the security of these global trade routes. Another key unit within the CMF is Combined Task Force 151, CTF-151, which focuses on combating piracy in the Gulf of Aden and along the coast of Somalia. This region was once a hotbed for piracy, with Somali pirates targeting merchant ships passing through the busy shipping lanes. Over time, CTF-151's efforts, combined with the contributions of international partners, have drastically reduced the number of pirate attacks, from a staggering 358 before 2016 to just 8 between 2016 and 2017. In fact, since 2017, there have been no successful pirate hijackings in the area, marking a significant victory for the coalition. Despite these successes, the CMF faces challenges, especially when member nations are unable to commit sufficient assets. With no fixed requirements for participation, the number of warships and resources in a given area can vary. When there are fewer ships in the water, it becomes nearly impossible to protect every civilian vessel, leading some companies to employ private security measures. This variability in contributions underscores the delicate balance the CMF must strike between international cooperation and operational effectiveness. Alongside its anti-piracy efforts, the CMF also plays a crucial role in maintaining security in other strategically vital areas. Combined Task Force 152, CTF-152, focuses on safeguarding the Persian Gulf, which remains a key passageway for global energy supplies. The presence of the CMF in this region is critical to ensuring that oil flows freely, keeping the global economy stable. Similarly, Combined Task Force 153 operates in the Red Sea, a maritime route that links the Mediterranean Sea to the Indian Ocean via the Suez Canal, another vital artery for international trade. By helping regional navies and coast guards improve their capabilities, the CMF is building a more robust and self-sufficient security presence in the region. This training extends across 5 core areas, ensuring that local forces are equipped to handle the challenges of modern maritime security. The CMF's operations, while largely successful, exist within a complex geopolitical landscape. In recent years, tensions have increased due to the shifting alliances and rivalries in the region. For example, in June 2023, Iran proposed the formation of a new naval alliance with Saudi Arabia and several other countries. This proposal came shortly after the United Arab Emirates withdrew from the US-led CMF, signaling a potential realignment of regional powers. While the US Navy dismissed Iran's proposal as irrational, citing Iran's destabilizing activities in the region, the situation reflects the growing complexity of Middle Eastern geopolitics. Iran has a track record of seizing commercial ships, particularly in response to the seizure of its own tankers for violating international sanctions, further exacerbating tensions. The CMF's presence in the region remains a critical counterbalance to such threats, especially as the US continues to maintain its influence over key shipping lanes. Although the US is now the largest producer of oil due to fracking, the Middle East still plays a pivotal role in the global energy market. The US and its allies, through the CMF, retain the ability to control these strategic waters, ensuring that adversarial nations like Iran and China, or Somali pirates, do not gain dominance over these critical sea routes. In the face of these shifting dynamics, the CMF remains a vital force for stability and security in some of the world's most important maritime regions. Its multinational structure allows it to respond flexibly to emerging piracy threats while fostering international cooperation in the face of complex geopolitical challenges. Although the coalition's effectiveness is dependent on the contributions of its member nations, the CMF continues to play a crucial role in ensuring the safety and security of global maritime trade. What do you think could be done to effectively discourage piracy? Let us know your opinion in the comments below.